Humanoids, mortals, those who live with snakes and lizards and other things that go bump in the night. All the scary monsters and super creeps who dig through the ditches and burn through the witches when the sun goes down and the moon comes up. Where my goo-goo moths at? When I look out my window, so many sights to see. Sure is strange. Why, it's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes control. I was struck by lightning walking down the street, hit by something in my sleep. Is it a dead man's party? Who could ask for more? A graveyard smash? Caught in a flash? No matter which way you go, no matter which way you stay, you're out of my mind. I will always feel like somebody is watching me, psycho killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Oh, you'll try to scream, but terror will take the sound before you make it, because this is thriller night, immortal fear. That voice so clear through broken walls that I scream to hear. Beware, ye lost boys, and cry, little sister. That's right, my little gooligans. It's Halloween! Yeah. One last ride of the decorations before the neighbors complain that it's November 1st and you should change your evil ways and repent because Santa is watching and he's the real deal. No matter how hard Walgreens is trying to gaslight you into thinking it's only 1 week, repent and resist because it's the ghost wonderful time of the fear all month. No matter what your weird churchy family says, every day is Halloween. That's my ministry. And it's on the breeze, in the air. You hear that? You sure? You better turn around and see. Oh, shit, it was right behind you. Did you hear something? Something is always watching, and it is never just the wind. 'Tis the screamsin'. And I don't know, I might be a little hype for it. But of course I am. I'm always psyched for Samhain, hot for the harvest, absolutely gagging for Halloween, because there's going to be dry ice drinks that glow in the black light, boobsy, wacky, and or mildly offensive costumes. The theater kids are on top of their game, and a horror movie watch list so extensive you'll have to keep your Roku outside because it's going to be smoking. Right now, my top 3 of 2025 in descending order are Sinners, Weapons, and Good Boy. Follow me on Letterboxd for more. But the sweetest part of it all, candy! Halloween candy is a particular human confection that I'm always down to indulge in because it follows 3 rules of All Hallows goodness. Chocolate, crunchies, and goo. Fuck out of here with your Starbursts and gummy fucking snacks. This isn't a fucking Christmas party. There's goddamn ghosts out there. You need hearty gut bombs to give you the energy for a night in the fog. Top 3 of all time in ascending order are Almond Joy, Twix, and Snickers. Why? They follow the 3 rules. Chocolate, crunch, and goo. You gotta have that goo. I'll keep my Milky Ways in the pumpkin bucket, though. That's 2/3 of the way there. I'll even trade for a Whopper because they're great. I will have no Whopper slander right now. You can fit 10 of them in your mouth and crunch your way to chalky malted heaven. I can do without Milk Duds, mostly because if you sneeze with one of those in your beak, your insurance goes up. Pro tip, get them warm. That's how you survive. And speaking of hot takes, Tootsie Rolls suck. I mean, they're fine. They do the job. They're the Band-Aid of Halloween candy. But they're only 1 out of 3, and that's not even a passing grade. Sour Patch Kids and Skittles can eat pavement, and you can fuck off with your candy corn. That means you either got your candy too late, or you're just being a lazy asshole. Also, if I see anyone sneaking raisins in the treat bowl, I'm leaving a shit in your punch. Tit for tat, tricks for treats. I know liquor is quicker, but I'm not out to get this over anytime soon. Candy is forever dandy on Halloween, as long as you follow the rules. But for some reason, humans, you're more afraid of the candy than you are sending your children out at night in the dark in a costume to beg for treats, which I think is odd, because the earliest known print of the term trick-or-treat appeared in 1934 in the Oregon Journal. The headline read, "Halloween pranks keep police on hop. Other young goblins and ghosts employing modern shakedown methods successfully work the trick-or-treat system in all parts of the city." So it's always been a racket, a sweet, crunchy, gooey, nougat-centered racket, and I'm here for it. And yet every Halloween there are stories, TikToks, news chyrons about the ever-present danger threatening the youth and several cool adults. Killer candy! You hear about that kid found a razor in his Rolo, safety pins in the pinwheels, rat poison in the Reese's? Contaminated confections have been in the Frightgeist since the Industrial Revolution, when humans started cooking less at home and started trusting mass production to make their eats. Processing, pasteurizing, and canning, and all of it done by the worst of the worst fucking strangers. Nothing is scarier than a stranger. You just don't know. And now they're making your eats, and you're supposed to eat it, no questions asked. New fear unlocked! Why, I read that doctors even claimed they were treating children poison with candy every day. But why even rely on the medical community? It's simple to see for yourself. Kids eat candy, kids get sick. It's the devil's math. And yet, when you do the actual math, you will find it's bullshit. In the 1890s and the 1900s, the U.S. Bureau of Chemistry, in conjunction with state agencies, tested hundreds of kinds of candy and found no evidence of poison or adulteration. That kid that told the police he found ant poison in his candy bar, turns out he put it there. That's true. That one kid that found the pin in the Tootsie Roll and then called the parents who called the police on the neighbors, that was a hoax that the kid did himself. That one time, back in 1899, when it was all over the papers that kids were dropping dead from poison candy, meningitis! That's actually scary. According to sociologist Joel Best, author of the 1990 book Threatened Children and co-author of a study tracking all reports of contaminated Halloween candy since 1958, quote, all I can say is, I don't know of a single case of a child killed by Halloween poisoning. I've seen 5 news stories that attributed death to Halloween poisoning. In one case, it was the child's own father. The other 4 were all retracted. The heroin candy murders in 1970, turns out this kid ate some actual heroin by accident, and the family didn't want the uncle who had the heroin to go to jail, so they made up the story about it being in the candy. The Flint, Michigan candy poisoning, happenstance, as in that child happened to be snacking on treats, but he died from natural causes. In fact, the only true story of candy poisoning on Halloween, most of the humans that read up on this agree to be real, was the story of Dr. William Shine, a dentist back in 1959 that gave out over 450 chocolate-coated laxatives to kids on Halloween. According to the CBC, 30 kids got violently ill but fully recovered. So basically the scariest thing that happened were the werewolf-sized shits these kids duked in their Dracula costume, and if I had a dime, been there, fuck, I remember my first test tube shot. Or do I? But why the freak over treats? Because humans, you're notoriously bad at reasoning with probabilities. Risk concerns how likely some bad outcome is, and you humans are stupid bad at it. So you hear about 1 or 2 stories of something bad happening with Halloween candy and conclude that Halloween candy is risky. You heard about Halloween candy getting poisoned, good enough reason to believe it could happen to you. Saw it on the news that a kid was poisoned on Halloween, must mean every Halloween the risk goes up. You heard about people replacing those kids' gummy snacks with THC gummies, good enough reason to check. Except in reality, which is where you live, anyone ever bought a fucking THC gummy, let alone a pack, knows that shit's fucking expensive. And unless those kids are Venmoing you for a 15 milligram full spectrum UFO Max gummy, the chances are the neighbors aren't parting with them so easily for a Halloween trick or treat. Now, I'm not saying don't check, don't protect, don't care about your kids. Obviously, keep them safe, but maybe don't believe the hype. It's just that every year, Halloween is a good time to get freaked out, and people with interests and money that need you to freak out because of said interests and money will lean in on your freakouts, especially since a day later you get November, and that means elections. But you want to know what's really scary? Huddle in close around the fire. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. It was October 20th, a Monday like any other. But something wasn't right. Something felt askew. Not readily seen, but somehow felt like the prickly skin when the conditions are right for lightning. A storm was coming, and we could hear it. I looked at the calendar. Fuck! Halloween's going to be on a Friday this year. Just then, the news came on. According to the National Retail Federation, the numbers were coming in. The news ticker itself seemed to quiver in fear. Consumers are expected to spend a record $13.1 billion on Halloween in 2025, breaking the previous record of $12.2 from 2023. I leaned in close. Pa closed the shutters. Ma wrung her hands, tried to put on a strong face because she knew little Anthony shits when he's got the shivers. On average, Americans will be spending $114.44 per person, nearly $11 more than last year. But why? It seemed all the crickets had gone silent, as if someone muted the world, leaving only the wind to rustle past the wind chimes. It paddled a song, chilled my bones. The news blared in the quiet. Due to the 30% tariffs on Chinese imports, given that 90% of Halloween products contain at least one component made overseas, consumers are expected to spend an average of $37.62 on a single Halloween costume this year, which is an 11% increase from 2024, according to the National Retail Federation. Ma screamed. Pa rushed to calm her. Anthony was already getting the shits, but the news goes on. The 15% tariff on imported spirits is also going to drive up the alcohol costs. But surely the candy will be okay, little Anthony cried while probably pooping. Hush, Pa hissed it, and we leaned in, the news shaking almost as much as we were. The world's top cocoa producers saw output drop by 25% and 30% in the last year. According to CBS, a box of 48 full-size chocolate bars has jumped from $40 to more than $50. Cocoa prices have more than doubled on account of extreme weather in West Africa, causing the biggest chalky supply deficit in more than 60 years. The news was shaking. Stu Leonard Jr., the president and CEO of Stu Leonard's, a family-owned grocery chain in the Northeast, told CBS he recommends gummy bears and Starbursts instead. No! The worst candies of them all! Legend said you can still hear the screams because it was like 5 days ago and Halloween is almost here. Humans, don't let them scare you because you'll scare yourself. Don't let anyone take it away from you because they're going to try and it's going to drive up the prices. Fright, like candy, comes in good and bad flavors. So indulge in the good stuff because it's the reason for the season. So treat yourself. Happy Halloween, meatbags!
The truth has been spoken yet again by Chad the Bird.
Nailed it.